Hello and welcome to the very first segment of CleanTechie. What does it mean to be a CleanTechie? But before I go into that, let me introduce myself. I'm your host, Surbi Nagrat, and I have here in the studios with me Sh0w Sharma. Sh0w Sharma is on her way to be a CleanTechie. She really is a senior associate at Stevenson's and Associates in San Francisco. She is a landscape architect and she's a lead AP. So we're going to go to Sh0w and talk to her about what it means to be in clean tech. Sh0w, welcome.
Thank you, Surabhi, for having me.
We're really glad that you're here. What does it mean for you to be LEED AP certified?
Okay, LEED is actually an acronym for Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. AP stands for Associate Professional, so it's a LEED Associate Professional. And what LEED is really doing is transforming the way we think about our buildings and communities and the way they are designed, constructed, maintained, and operated. So what LEED is really, it's a third-party certification for green buildings. And so when we are working on a project, we have to satisfy a certain amount of prerequisites in order to reach a particular certification, whether we want a silver, gold, platinum. So that is what LEED is.
That's awesome. Now, what interested me was your journey. You from the time you studied, why you chose to be you, and where you're headed in clean technology. Because we understand you're going to Chennai to present a paper at the largest Asian conference on energy efficiency and green buildings.
It's a Green Building Congress in India who hosts this conference annually, and it's the largest conference in Asia. And this year I have the honor of presenting a paper there and being, amongst the panel of speakers. So yes, I am excited about it. And so what was the question again? The paper or how I started?
Tell me everything. Tell me how you came to be the one talking at this conference. How is it that you're maneuvering your career into clean technology?
Okay, so let me just start right at the very beginning. I was born and raised in Calcutta, and from my mother's side, I come from a hardcore, if I may, architectural background. And my grandfather was one of the earliest architects in India, And so when we were young and, we were growing up as kids and we used to go for our annual summer holidays to Delhi. And so one of our little outings was to go to my grandfather's office and spend the whole day there. And, I used to walk, in the studios and see all these draftsmen with their, we used to call it triangles, then set squares and, their T-squares and, drawing and these beautiful pictures of buildings on the wall. And, and I'm like, this is what I want to do when I grow up,
Yeah.
And so I was kind of, in my growing up years, it was already setting in my mind that this is where I want to go. So after I finished schooling and, I passed the required exams and I was, undergoing my Bachelor of Architecture in the University of Calcutta. And let me tell you, I was a real rebel as a student. I would not like the way certain classes were taught. And, while those classes were taught, sometimes I would be just sitting outside and, and then I would start thinking that it's just not enough to know what's in a building. It's enough, you need to know what's happening outside a building and, so that you understand any project in totality. And that's when, again, it started building up in my mind that, I want to do something after these 5 years, I just don't want to take a job and, start, making money. I think I need to go a little deeper into it. And so then that resulted in my getting a scholarship to do my master's in landscape architecture. And so then I went off to Delhi to do that. That was about an 18-month program. And like I told you, when I was a student of architecture, I was a rebel. I wasn't happy, the way we were being taught. And so that, the next step was to start teaching and try to contribute to the education program. And I was actually teaching in all the prominent colleges of architecture. And those were really very interesting 10 years where I was interacting with younger minds. And, it's very interesting, And even while I was doing that, I was doing my own projects as an independent consultant. And I was also working on research papers with my professor. And in 1999, I was awarded a short-term fellowship by the British High Commission and INTAC. And that was to study landscape conservation in England. So I spent a good 6 months traveling extensively in UK and Europe so that I could contribute to my research and, take the paper back home. And during that tenure, I got a lot of job offers, in the United Kingdom. But I said, no, this is, I was sent from my country. I need to come back and give something back to my country,
So now let me ask you, is that what got you interested in presenting at this paper? Is this your Bridge to India project?
Yes, that is, if you would ask me what I really want to do in the future, this is what it is, And today, having worked 10 years in the US, now that other inkling or the urge is, what can I take back to my country? And so sometimes they say things happen for a reason or the right things happen at the right time. And so my office where I work, Stevens and Associates, we do a lot of projects internationally, so we are spreading our business all over Africa, Vietnam, and India, of course, because I keep going there. And so last year, somebody had mentioned about this, the Green Building Conference, and we had sent our, brochures there for display. And because I had, had in-depth conversation with the organizers, and what led to it was actually a project which we just completed, our office just completed. It was a joint venture project with KMD, and it was the San Francisco Public Utility Commission headquarters. And this was actually, in 2013, it was awarded as the greenest, I think it's 2012. It's the AIA Court Award for the greenest urban building in the United States. Okay. Not San Francisco, in the United States.
Nationwide.
And, so I was thinking, I understand India is a developing country, and and green building is a pretty strong Congress in India. So how can we contribute to that?
So let me ask you, what exactly makes this building so efficient, so green?
Okay, so I would say that this building has some unique salient features, and I would say green features which probably one hasn't, I would say, seen before. And what comes uppermost in my mind is that 100% recycling of grey water and black water.
It's usually grey water that's recycled.
It's usually grey water, and never ever before has black water, at least to my knowledge in this country, in the United States, been used even for irrigation. It's always grey water which would be recycled, because black water is what is coming as a waste from the urinals and toilets. And in this particular project, there was a system. I don't think I have the time to go into details.
Yes.
But we had this living machine system by which we allowed the black water to be recycled. And of course, we had to work with the San Francisco Health Department and, to go back and forth.
So let me ask you, is India ready for this? Is India ready for energy efficiency and green buildings? What's your message when you go there?
Well, if you've been closely following India, because I go there every year and I have my family still there, India is seeing a phenomenal growth in the building and construction industry, at least last 5 years. And this is going to go on at least for the next 30 or 40 years. And, lifestyles are changing there. Income levels have increased, so it's healthy. But at the same time, there's a lot of pressure on resources like water, like energy, electricity.
No, I do agree. India is changing, and India is coming of age. And what better way than to bring clean technology, and clean water, because this is a really wholesome project.
Yes.
So I wanted to bring you and talk to you more about how it is that you're maneuvering your career from being a landscape architect to being in clean technology. And here you are presenting a paper at a global conference. I really want to, wish you all luck. And I want to wrap up and say this is how you become a clean techie. This is one woman's journey of going from being an architect to being a clean techie. Join us for more next time.